Hello, fellow female activists, and maybe some of the 90 million who did not vote last year. I am your wellness coach, Cathy, fellow female activist, and today we are in our wellness playlist. We are talking about sleep, specifically being consistent with sleep to get better sleep. And we always start with our positive quotient repetitions, or PQ reps. So here we go. If you are feeling safe, please make sure that if you close your eyes, if you so choose to, that you do so and you're safe. All right, so this is advanced PQing, and that all we're going to be doing, and it sounds easy, but it's really not. So all we're going to do, if you can, again, close your eyes. And what I want you to do now is without changing your breath, we're not changing our breath, but we're going to every time we do breathe, like we feel that inhalation, exhalation, every time we breathe, we're going to think breath. That's all we're going to do. And I can assure you that in this time of which all we're thinking about, and not too hard, just in your head, say breathe or breath. So breath, breath. It should be fairly rhythmic without you changing your breathing pattern. That's all I want you to do in your head until I say otherwise. Say breath in your head every time you feel your breath. If your mind has wandered, bring it gently back to breath. Gently bring yourself back to breath. And with that, go ahead and open your eyes if they're closed. I bet you may be a little perturbed when you think about how many times your brain decided to wander off. When all I asked you to do, right, is simply hear your breath, right? Or count the breath, so to speak. And not even count, just recognize the breath. I assure you that becomes a lot easier as you go through the PQ reps, okay? I happen to be a master now, so definitely we could talk more about that at a later time if you so wish. So today, again, we're talking about sleep. So this is our wellness playlist, and we are in our sleep subcategory. And today we're talking about just consistency. It does count when you're talking about good sleep, okay? So a good strategy for any, right, any, let's say, best outcome is such that you have a plan in place and then you execute. So executing, though, requires tasks be completed. Well, consistency is part of those tasks. Or you can actually say that consistency is all that matters in some cases. So when we're talking about something as simple as sleep, what we want to understand is our body, it is so in tune with rhythms, with just the ease and flow of nature, right? Especially women or females, okay? So what I want you to think about is, how did you wake up this morning? I'm sorry, how did you wake up? Because again, not everyone has a day job, okay? Some people work at night, so they are asleep during the day. So let me rephrase. When you woke up, whenever you woke up to start your day, to start your waking hours, how did you wake up? So let me, like think about it. How did you feel? What was the first reaction you had as you became aware that you were awake, right? Okay, so mentally note that. Okay, so now going back, let's say, hopefully 7 to 8 hours prior to when you woke up, how did you feel going to bed? So think about that for a little bit. How were you feeling? What were you engaged in right before you fell asleep? I am guessing, and I wouldn't be too off if a lot of you, me included, I am not dis discounting myself at all in this. Most of us probably go to bed with one of these, right? And I will admit my alarm is set on my phone. And I will also say that the phone is far away from me. Okay, so it's on purpose. It is still in my room, which is not ideal, but it is far away from me because I do utilize the alarm. And there's different reasons. I mean, yes, I could get a old-fashioned alarm clock, but I'm actually choosing from a minimalist standpoint just to stick to the phone. But the phone is not by my head, it's not on my bed, it's not on a nightstand. It is put far away. Okay. I bring that up because as much as I would like to just wake up naturally, i.e., with nothing startling me other than, let's say, natural light, I use a alarm. Now, most of the time, because the alarm is set to actually what is more like a natural wake up time for me anyway, literally I will wake up either before or at least it won't startle me awake, right? So my body, my actual like circadian rhythm that each of one of us has, it is in tune to around the 5:30 a.m. hour. Between 5 and 5:30, I will just automatically wake up. And it happened when I was a baby, a child, a toddler, right? And it continued. Some people, sometimes their circadian rhythm can kind of go off kilter. In my case, it's always been very consistent. I am a what you would consider an early riser, right? And I happen to also be someone who goes to bed early. Okay. I say that to set up the fact that consistency is what our bodies want most. Now, remember, the idea of our body is to stay safe and to stay in homeostasis. That's all it wants. It's to stay alive and to obviously feel safe and whole. And our sleep is a direct result of the homeostasis because it's part of getting into homeostasis. It is also, again, a product of, right, how we have dealt with our waking hours. So, consistency. When we sleep, one, it matters. How long we sleep matters. And how we decide how that happens really does matter. So, I'll take again for me as an example. Because I've always been an early riser, when it came to school and, even let's say I didn't want to not wake up, so I'd always have my alarm. But let's just say that I would probably say as I grew up, okay, probably 9 times out of 10, I beat my alarm. Okay. So again, I was able to get up. There are some, right, who get to rely on the alarm because maybe they see themselves as what we call night owls, right? So their circadian rhythm is more in tune to, oh, okay, well, they're more alive, quote unquote, when it's dark outside, or at least they don't like to wake up as early. And there is evidence that obviously, especially, as puberty is hitting, children who might have been early risers, in puberty, everything can reverse. And then now you have kids who, on average, really teenagers should be starting school, high school, right? like at the 9 a.m. hour, not at 7:15, 8 o'clock. Little people have a better chance of being more productive at that hour in the morning, but not teenagers. Saying all that, again, sleep is imperative. We require sleep. So, regardless of when you decide to take your long stage sleep, it must happen. And to set yourself up for success really just comes down to consistency. And I say that, with at least some grain of salt because I know what it's like to have insomnia and it sucks really bad. I also know, right, what it's like to, again, not be woken by an alarm. I know what it's like to not get enough sleep. Consistency, though, has me getting at least a certain amount of rest so that I am at least sufficiently able to go about my waking hours. Consistency includes a lot of different habits, though. So, what I want you to think about, if you're new to this channel, go back and check out all the ones on sleep, okay, and the wellness playlist. But I always come back to this. You get to work on at least one type of consistency habit. And that consistency, then, once you connect it, right, to let's say your sleep, in this case, guess what? That same consistency can then spill into other parts of your life. And I want that to happen. That's the point. There is nothing, and I'm going to keep saying this, there is nothing sexy about being healthy. And I say that in the most earnest way. I love being healthy. And I'm not as healthy as I should be, or that I could be, let's just say. But I'm always working towards that, right? And I say that because people will give the impression, especially in the health and wellness industry, that it's about, well, let's just put it the way, it's getting better, but it's not quite there yet. There is this presumption that health can just bink, you snap your finger and you become healthy. No. If anyone tells you that, oh my gosh, I use YouTube to research different topics and so forth and all that great stuff. And even just to pass time, unfortunately, right? But I see all these stupid commercials that are AI driven. They even have Oprah as being the spokesperson. Hello, I don't think Oprah's gonna let AI, use her without getting paid in some way, shape, or form. But anyway, what I mean is, you see all these stupid diet type of ads, and it drives me nuts because they're all saying the same thing. It's fast, it's fast, it's fast. No, guess what? You, as a human, did not form instantly. No, you started as like a cell, right? And then that divided, and then that divided. And it took freaking 9 months to make you. So, no, nothing about nature is fast. Now, you have certain, there are creatures that can, pretty much populate pretty quickly. You think about plants, right? You see what we call weeds that can just grow like seemingly overnight. So yes, there is a fastness to some parts of nature, but as a human, as our evolution has taught us, we don't change quickly, and there's a reason for that. So let's get back to the subject here, sleep and consistency. How can you make your sleep more consistent? Well, for starters, you can choose a time when you should go to sleep. And I'll probably bring this up again if it turns out, because again, this sleep subject cycles over like several weeks, right? But we're in November, I believe it is. Oh, yeah, so I'll definitely hit it again. But in November of this year, right, we will be changing, well, not Arizona, but anyway, most of the world will change their clocks, okay, for daylight savings time. Stupidest thing ever, but that's another subject for another time. Anyway, in November, right, you will be changing your clocks, okay, to fall back. Well, how about, and I'll probably again bring this up for the sleep section, that the week prior to when that change happens, daylight savings time, you actually start consistently moving your clock 5 minutes earlier for your bedtime. You switch your clock, and it wouldn't matter for your um, waking hours, but definitely for your bedtime, right? You'd want to change the time so that come that next week when daylight savings time actually takes place, your body has gotten a little bit of reprieve, right? In that it's learning habitually that it's going to wake up a little bit earlier or go to bed a little bit earlier. Sorry, go to bed a little bit earlier. And why is that? Because you're getting your body ready to then go to bed at an earlier hour, right? And it could be the opposite way. Maybe you do set your alarm clock to start earlier, right? Or whichever. It doesn't matter. The point is, there is consistency in that, and that's how you build habits. So coming back to the present, what can you do right now that's going to help you create some type of consistency for your sleep? Well, here's something really easy. I have water with me 24/7, pretty much. I mean, obviously, when I'm asleep, I'm not drinking it, but I actually have water by me, right? But what I'm getting at is instead of filling up on everything and everything that is not water, how about at least 2 hours before your bedtime, wherever that is? I mean, again, maybe you don't have a consistent bedtime, but at least from now, right, until the next time you see a video of mine, right, that you think about, okay, not drinking anything but water 2 hours before you go to sleep. Now, why do I say that? One, you do not want to be drinking caffeine at any hours. Like, if I drink caffeine at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not going to bed. It's going to be really hard. Okay. It's going to be really hard for me to get to bed. Maybe you are that person that, hits that low and now you need some type of a pick me up. So you reach for an energy drink. Well, guess what? Why not? Please just get some infused water. Maybe put some sparkling water in it, right? Like put carbonated water, right? But skip anything that is not water. Why do I say that? Because your body will be stimulated through whatever you drank, whether that is caffeine, whether that is sugar. It doesn't matter what you're drinking. If it's not water, okay, then you have activated your nervous system artificially. Now, it can be like the purest tea ever, but it is still caffeinated, which means yes, caffeine is natural. It's a stimulant though, and it's going to make it harder for your body to understand that it's time to go to sleep at some point. So, one rule of thumb that you can definitely say is, okay, if I'm going to plan to drink something caffeinated, right? Then I'm going to make sure that I give myself like 6 hours before it's time for me to go to bed, because that's about how long it takes your body to get rid of the caffeine. People like me, we should never be on caffeine because yeah, it's not a pretty sight. But for other people, they might be able, especially maybe if they use it to like go and then have some type of movement practice, right? Like maybe they're going to the gym, maybe they're going to have a hard run, who knows? And so they're using this energy drink because they're going to need that extra oomph. Okay, I can see why you're doing that. But give yourself that really long span of time before you decide then to try and go to sleep because it's going to be really difficult. Your body needs to expel that stimulation. And it's good that you're going to naturally get rid of it by using it up, okay? But it was still excess stimulation. And so your body needs to get rid of it before your body is going to want to go to sleep, okay? So, ending is that consistency matters when it comes to good sleep. And to get good sleep, you get to be consistent. So that means pick some type of little, tidbit that you cut up here that you heard here, and then see how you can utilize it. And then see how consistent you can be with it. And it's not a one size fits all, but there's something in here that I said that will at least give you an idea. And then you can go and, research yourself and decide how am I going to be consistent with at least one type of a tip that will help me get better sleep. And then let me know later on. Tell me, send me um, a DM here or I don't know if you can DM in YouTube, but send me a email because all my contact information is in the descriptions of all of my channel or all my videos. Let me know if you're getting better sleep. All right. That means the world to me to know that you are taking my tips and then you're using them. Right. I'm just not here to talk. No, that's not what I'm about. I want you to actually utilize the tips and then tell me that it works for you. So until next time, take care, take charge, God bless.